episode. We once again have Julie Lacey. Um, she's from the Michigan area. We had another episode with Julia, and her phone had got cut off for some strange, mysterious reason. But anyway, we're grateful to have her back. So as I like to call you, Julie Lacey. Um, let's continue with the situation. I just like to jump into it. So tell me, what happened with where we left off with these slanted eye beings, entities?
Well, basically, as a like I said, they had came to my door with some religious uh, talk, and also were, just trying to uh, work with me to get me a ride there. Um, Afterwards, I had called an elder because at that church there's two different congregations. One is from one area of town and one is from another. And I'm in the territory of the guy who came to my door, but I preferred going to the territory of the other area because it just seemed that that just hit me better. Well, anyways, I called the elder and I even asked about the guy with the slit eyes. I mean, I didn't tell him he had slit eyes. I just was like, who is this guy? I've never seen him before, and he just told me he was new. And then I'd say about a month or so later, I mean, because like I said, I kind of blocked it out at first. And so I was like, still thinking, I need to get to this church, blah, blah, blah. So I had called another friend's husband who I had met online, and they were now going to that congregation. And I just left a message saying I needed to get a ride. So about a couple of days later, I get a phone call. And I'm like, hello, and they say my name, and then he goes, we're elders, and we'd like to come and talk to you. I'm like,
Mm.
okay. So I got my Bible ready, and at the time, and we met outside at my picnic table, and it was a white guy and a black guy, older guys this time, and you know, they were like, uh, okay, well, you've studied before, and we really need you to get here by yourself, and then we'll get you a ride home and all this stuff. And I was just like, they didn't open not one scripture. Now the white guy, he was like, he was wearing those sunglasses where you can't see their eyes. It looks like silver. You know what I'm talking
Right,
about?
right. It
Okay.
reflects back.
All he kept saying was, "You gotta stop doing what you're doing," and I'm like, what, smoking cigarettes? Like, what am I doing? And the other guy would like laugh and say, oh no, not that. And I'm like, well, what am I doing? And he never would answer me. And he was like, yeah, I used to be a military cop and all this stuff. And it just gave me the creeps
Mm.
overall. And the final message was, I have to get my own transportation there in order to, um, you know, get to the church. So the
Mhm.
lady that I was studying the Bible with, I actually mentioned this to her, and she was silent and stuff, and I told her about those elders coming over, and she was just shocked, because she was like, "We always offer people rides." So basically, it just petered out from that. I didn't go back anymore. They haven't been to my house, and they're not welcome over here. So that was the end of that.
Okay. Do you feel that had you had any other encounters with those type of people or possible entities?
No, because I don't really go anywhere. I stay home all the time. I don't, you know what I mean? I got my yard. If I want to do anything, I barbecue. I, I have a pool. I can swim. My kids come visit me. I don't really need to go anywhere except to the grocery store and appointments and stuff. So I don't really go out anywhere. And I've been like that before COVID. So
Mm.
I don't have the opportunity to come across people unless they come over to my house, and I had seen videos in the past of people like that, and I was a little skeptical, but I said, there's a bit of truth in everything. I hope I never
Right.
run across anybody like that, and then I did. So,
Right. So let me ask you. I love to ask questions. So let me ask you this: do you feel that Do you feel that it was that they were? Do you believe that? Do you feel that they were human beings? Do you think perhaps they were men in black? Do you think they were demons just playing a game? Do you think they were trying to? Because it doesn't seem like they were. Uh, it doesn't seem like they were persistent. You know, like if it was a
Right.
if it was a demon, I feel that it they would have probably said, well, look, let's try to let's try to initiate her into something crazy or get her to do something crazy or come with us somewhere. It was like they were like, okay, well, you know, but then
Okay.
again,
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand
but
what you're saying. I think they were. I think they were possessed. That's what I think. That
whoa,
they had.
now that's deep. Yeah, that's deep.
I did do some research into that organization. I really don't want to mention their name, but I did
Okay.
do in-depth research, and the founder was a Satanist, like over 100 and
Ooh.
something years ago,
Oh goodness.
and a Freemason. So I don't know if that's connected. I'm not trying to point fingers, but I know what I saw, and I know that that particular church, that congregation was having issues. They never went into what were the issues. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And I just heard that through the grapevine. And then another lady who had been, because I'd been associated with that church for over 30 years up to
Okay.
that point. Um, and a lady who was a friend had been coming by every once in a while, and read a scripture with me and stuff. And I never noticed anything with those. And those were African American people. Um, not saying that white people are like that, but I'm just saying it was a friend of mine. And they stopped her from coming over because I have not seen her since.
Was your
So
friend? Did Do you think they stopped her because they was there something was it something kind of mysterious or spooky about her or creepy?
no, not at all. And as a matter of fact, I was telling her about like chemtrails and stuff.
Mhm.
And she even went deeper than me and went on a conference call about it. So, you know what I mean? And then also the man, I forgot to say that when those elders had came over, the man asked me about her. He goes, does so and so still come and visit you? And I should have said no. And I was like, yeah, of course. She's one of my friends. And after that, I haven't seen her. And it's been like 3 years.
Now, when you said man, do you mean the possibly possessed individuals or somebody from your church?
The, the elders that came
Elder,
later.
okay. And the elders are okay with you. Those from your church, so you trust them. They're
No,
okay.
I didn't trust them either because they was looking. I told you that man had them sunglasses on, and they was not pulling out no scriptures. And I already had heard that they had problems at their hall. So I was like, you know, I'm
Oh,
still,
okay. So
yeah.
I see. So you say okay. So are you? But okay. Okay. So I got so many questions. I can't. I got to get myself straight. Excuse me. Um. So okay. Do you belong to a church now?
I am a Israelite.
Okay. Very cool. I've heard about them. Very cool. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, is that something where y'all can congregate on a regular basis, or is this, or right now you're kind of like you all just kind of do your online or phone chat thing for
Well,
your
yeah,
worship?
they have meetings for women online and where you could call in and stuff. Because they say that the Negroes who came on slave ships, because in Deuteronomy 28:68 it says, as a curse to the ancient Israelites for not keeping the commandments, that they would go on ships into slavery and sold unto their enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And so
Okay.
that's describing the Atlantic slave trade. And then the natives, it says in the Apocrypha that they came to this uninhabited land so they could keep the commandments. And they also keep a commandment of the fringes on their clothing. That's a commandment out the Bible, and with the blue border. Yep. And so and the Mexicans, all the indigenous people who are scattered and went into slavery are supposedly the Israelites. But no, we don't gather together. But actually, while I was researching the other church, I came across the Israelites, talking to them and asking them questions. And I'm like, well, who are these guys? So I started doing research into that. And then I found out that I was an Israelite. And so, like I said, they could do a lot of, the men do a lot of street preaching and stuff, and you know, so on and so forth. But
Right. And a lot of things. But
but
go
for 30 something years, since I was 19 years old, I had been studying with this church
Okay.
off and on through my life, and I always believed the Bible. So, it came as a shock to me that,
Well, well,
yeah,
I see where you're coming from. Yeah, and you know, uh, I follow, in Christian, and I, try to follow the Bible, although I'm probably not the greatest, but I definitely understand where you're coming from. Um, let me ask you. So, you haven't had. How did you feel when you encountered? Did you feel something? Did you get like a feeling from these?
yes, like all of a sudden my stomach dropped. You know what I mean? Like your heart
Right,
started beating quick. I,
right,
I was like, in my mind, I said, I can't show this outwardly. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't let them see. Because when I saw that, I immediately looked at the other guy, and he looked like he about to run up my stairs. So then that's why I was like, oh my God, I got to shut the door and lock it and,
do
get
you
out
think
of
they
there.
could have been? I'm sorry to cut you. Do you think they could
But
have been? They have people have had the situation with the black-eyed children. Do you think but they would have been black-eyed adults, I guess. Um, but the black-eyed children, I don't know if you know about them. Do you?
I
Have you
know
heard of?
about them, and I don't like talking about
Okay.
them.
Well,
But I will tell you, I think this is my opinion. I
mhm.
think that when I met his eyes like that, uh, I think sometimes these people who are possessed or Satanists or whatever, I don't think they realize right when their eyes are turning that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
right,
I've seen several videos online of different celebrities who've been talking and they blink and their eyes look crazy. And
right.
I don't think they realize it at that moment that it's being revealed what they are.
Okay.
So I think that was just part of, and then the guy was new, so they didn't even really know him that well. You know what I'm saying? He done popped up here and all this other stuff. So, you know, I just
Yeah.
felt I didn't ever want to go to that church again. And I told the lady that I was studying with that and she told me, she goes, well, you need to go to the church and all this stuff. I said, I'm not going there.
Right.
I'm not going there. Especially
Church
after
is.
I did research into them and found
Mhm.
out a lot of stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going there.
But it's good, it's good for that you did do your research because a lot of people just jump into things, sometimes and that's I feel sorry for some of these kids and children that they get into these crazy cults and things like that. And they think that everything's cool and that the cult loves them and wants to cultivate them and help them spiritually, but they end up in danger. They have these cults now where the leaders will marry the women, even if the women are underage and things like that. And
Right.
it's terrible. They brainwash them, and then it ends up somebody dying or you know. So you
Well, the
did
thing
it's a
about
good.
yeah, the thing about this religion is that oh, what was I going to say? The thing about it is once I did the research, see the thing is my mother and my sister told me from the beginning not to get involved with them, but I always wanted to study the Bible and find out what the Bible said because I wasn't really raised with the Bible, even though my mom and them believed in God. And
Mhm.
so when all of a sudden, when I'm starting to learn what they haven't taught me, they're telling me, "Oh, this is a cult," and I'm like, "How?
Mhm.
How?" And they never really could say. So I was like, "Well." I'm gonna keep studying the Bible because I want to know about the Bible. You know, I
Right.
cared more about the Bible than the religion, but I thought that they had the truth, and
Okay.
they didn't. They
Right.
didn't. Yeah, after I did research, I found out they had predicted the end of the world several times, and it's not possible because if you
We're
look in
still here.
yeah, and if you look and read Matthew 15:24, it says Jesus said, "I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of Israel."
Okay.
So that's what I go by.
Okay. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like I mean, I'm glad you did your research and you checked them out and things like that.
Hey,
Like I said,
check this out. When the internet first hit my library in like 1998, I was on it.
very good,
I've had,
very good.
I've
That's
had a
very good.
PayPal account for
Very
like
good.
over 20 years.
Right, I hear you. That's very good. I went through some rough times. I think like 2011, I was laid off from the government, and I ended up heading to the library. Most people would just kind of lag around or BS around or
Hmm.
hang out or whatever. I hit the library and I studied and I researched as much as I could about what I needed. At the same time, I was looking for work, um, and now you might as well. I am kind of like the Bible because I'm a Hebrew slave now. I work so much, but
You really are a
um,
Hebrew slave.
right. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. You notice it because I
The
work
the
so crazy.
Bible calls the natives,
Oh yeah.
who are the tribe of Gad and Reuben, because the oldest Torah was found with a Native American family in America. But
Isn't that something?
yeah, they call the Bible calls you guys the battle axes of God because y'all used to drop out them trees. Yes, y'all used
Well,
to, and
yeah,
it says that, yeah, and it says
it's
that
funny
you
you said that.
yeah, you drop out them trees on people.
Right.
Yes,
And
ain't nothing
it's so
wrong with
funny.
it.
And it's so funny you said that because when me and my cousins, we were kids, we would do that's how we would fight the bullies. We would get them in the woods and then we drop from the trees. And I didn't know that till you just told me. So it's you learn things and
Hmm.
it's good to talk to people, especially when they have wisdom and knowledge because you can learn. And unfortunately in our society, nowadays people don't want to listen or we're so fast to judge and try to figure things out ourselves that some people would try to figure out things that they don't understand, but they have too much pride to ask for help to understand completely. That's what I'm trying to say. So they get
Yeah,
things screwed up.
and,
But and that's
and
how a cult kind of works. So,
yeah,
they can
yeah.
guide you. Yeah, they can guide you and say, well, look, we know something, whether it's right or wrong, we know something that you don't. Now we can draw you in and let the games begin. So, but anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, what I was gonna say also, in the age of like social media, people will not even read your comments. They'll just like respond. They just want to respond and not take in knowledge. Like I post stuff all the time, and people don't really want to read it because so I don't have that many people liking my comments, and I don't care because I'm going to get my post across. I'm trying to give out information, and the people who are awake that are my friends, they already know, and they'll like it or share it or whatever, and that's the point of it. I don't care about likes, but I'm just saying, some people who just say anything, they get 100 likes on their post, you
Right.
know, and then I post something, or by a group of friends on Facebook, and they're just like, we know exactly what you're talking about. So it's crazy out here now in the last days.
That's
But
true.
anyways,
Well, welcome everybody to the Into the Night Bible Show. but no, uh, that's what your situation is really really different and good. And let me ask you, did did you I don't know why I have so much energy today. Yeah, oh gosh. But
Me too.
which is good. Because usually I don't talk a lot. But do you have you had any other strange encounters?
No,
Okay.
because
Okay.
I prayed after that,
Okay.
and that I don't want to deal with that. And I used to get premonitions and stuff, and I had to pray about that too because you know it's just
Yeah, those premonitions, they're kickers, especially if you don't know how to handle them or you're just learning to, kind of adjust to them. Those things can be really.
well, I had an experience. I don't know if you want to hear about it. It has to do with premonitions.
Okay. No, I'm
God,
I'm sorry. I was
oh,
I was I was I was listening to you, but I'm looking out in my woods because I have some deer that come up. So I'm listening. I'm focused. I'm concentrating on you, but
oh
there's this
wow.
deer, and I'm trying to. He keeps busting up my fence. Him and his brothers, his whole gang of deer. They just crash into
Uh
my
oh.
yard. I have to put
Uh
up a
oh.
fence.
They might be
Good.
trying to get away from something. You never know.
My goodness. Well, you know what I do, so who knows what has followed me home. But go ahead.
Right.
I'm listening.
Right. Well, anyways, I all my entire life because I studied the Bible, I never had anything to do with tarot cards or anything. But then I met this guy who was into voodoo, and he was like all charismatic and handsome and everything. We're both musicians and stuff, so I was like, hey. So one night, I said, hey, read my tarot cards for me. Trying to be, I don't know what, but he came and he read my cards, and I was like, I already knew that. Well, anyways, I said, have you had your cards read lately? And he was like, yeah. I said, did you read them yourself or did somebody else read them? And he goes, I read them myself. I said, well, you're not supposed to do that, are you? So, anyways, in the past, I'd had a dream about this dude being at the Mardi Gras, and everybody had a mask on except him, and I was lost trying to follow him out of this crowd, right? So,
And this is before
um,
this is before COVID. This was a while ago.
yeah, this was about in 2003. 2000,
Okay.
it was right before my daughter passed away, my youngest.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
so, yeah. Um, so, anyways, so I started reading his cards. The very first, I reminded him about that dream, right? The
Mhm.
very first card I picked up about him said, "You're like a face in the crowd, like in the Mardi Gras. You're like a face in the crowd at the Mardi Gras." That's what it said.
Creepy.
And exactly. So I said, "Well, hold up. I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back." And when I came back, he had put all the cards up. He didn't want to hear no more. And after that, I started having premonitions, just crazy
What
ones.
were they? What were some of the
Like for
premonitions?
instance, I would get out the driveway in my car and I'd start driving. It felt like I went bloom, bloom over something, like bump, bump.
Ooh,
And I was
like you over an
like
animal or
I'm running over somebody or something, like twice. You know what I mean? And I was just like getting this sensation. And so I was like driving extra slow. I was even with a friend and I told her, stop. And the kid ran out in the street. She was like, girl, you is tripping me out. Quit doing that. So about a couple weeks later, this little boy got ran over at our store at the corner, about 4 blocks from me, and the car went
oh
over him
no.
twice.
Oh,
Yep.
so you may have saw it. Oh, see,
But
I
I
need to
didn't
start
see
seeing it.
that. I just felt like
Oh,
going
okay.
over somebody. Yes, and it's just crazy. And I just was like, um, I had a dream somebody murdered my daughter, and then she
Oh,
died. She died at
so I'm
Yeah, she
sorry.
went to my oldest daughter. She went to the ER with pneumonia, and they treated her with Tamiflu for the flu, and she
I'm
died that night in her sleep.
so sorry.
Yeah, so I had to, I was like, so I had to start praying that I don't have these premonitions anymore, and it'll be crazy. Like I'll think of a name like Colin Powell, We haven't
Mhm.
heard him on the news in years. All of a sudden, he'll be on TV and all these shows, and it's just really
Yeah,
weird stuff. Yeah,
yeah, that's funny.
and
It's funny you brought Colin Powell up for some strange reason. I was thinking about him. Because he was a great, he was a great leader, and I just for some reason
right.
I think Colin Powell, but well, you can tell I'm probably obviously very boring if I'm sitting around thinking about Colin Powell. But anyway, you would did you have any other premonitions?
Um, like I'll be on Facebook and I'll see the exact same phrase right next to each other, and it'll be an odd phrase. Um, Trying to think of an exact one. It was happening a whole lot for a minute. Um,
Like, can you give us a example?
I'm trying to think like somebody say the details, the devil's in the details, right? I scroll down and somebody say the devil's in the details, right underneath it. I'll be like, what? I, I'm
Oh,
just
so
giving an
oh,
example.
okay,
Yes,
okay. So
so
you were okay.
I was seeing that on Facebook left and right. And I was like, this stuff, because I don't, sometimes I'll get off Facebook for weeks. And then sometimes I'll be on there just posting all this stuff, information for people and stuff. And then I'll just get off again for, a week or so.
Did
Um,
you have anything? I'm sorry to cut you. Did you have anything yesterday that popped in your head? Did you think about anything? Was anything going on in your mind or anything yesterday?
mm, Trying to think. Not really that I can think of. I was on Facebook arguing, not
Uh-oh.
arguing, debating about the
Right.
vaccine. And so I was on there talking to this doctor and pulling up information and blah, 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 doing that type of
Mhm.
stuff. Nothing comes to mind. But then again, you know, it might, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It kind of gives me a chill thinking about it because had to pray so much to get rid of those premonitions because I knew what they were from. Never opened that door, you know?
Do you think they were from the past? You don't think they were from the tarot cards because you don't. I'm assuming you're saved. So because you're, I'm assuming.
No, I'm not saved because the Bible
Oh,
says he that
oh,
endures to the end will be saved. Um, but I think the tarot cards opened up something. Now, my mother told me that my grandmother and them used to have premonitions, and
okay.
so for some gypsies on their side of the family or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Were they regular gypsies or mountain gypsies?
That I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna call my uncle. I've already told him get ready for the questions because
Uh
I have a lot of
oh.
questions. He knows about both sides of my family, so I'm getting ready to question him. Yeah,
Okay. Well, at least you have somebody to go to. That's good. Yeah.
I know.
Good. Do you But you know what? It's good that you admit to it or you acknowledge it. You know what I mean? That way you can stay away from it. So that's a
Hmm.
good thing. That's
Yeah, I've
that's good
never
because
had a
some people.
premonition that it's the end of the world and the sky is falling and none of that. It's just little stupid stuff. Like for
Right.
instance, I'll give you another one. One day, me and my daughters, the one of them had passed away since then, and my other daughter, we were just sitting here looking at People magazine and stuff, and I just got a funny feeling in my stomach, and I started pacing, and
Mhm.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, is something wrong with the kids? No, the school would call me. I just started going through all these things. And then I heard my daughter on the phone talking about, I'll meet you such and such in like 30 minutes. And she hung up. I said, don't go anywhere. I said, Robin, I said, haven't you seen me pacing for the last like 20 minutes? Don't go. And
Mhm.
she just looked at me. And she didn't end up going, but you know, there was
Oh, that's
nothing
good. That's good.
concrete, but it was just like, you know,
But you may
just
have
crazy.
saved her life or kept her from something.
Hmm.
That's great though. I'm. Seems like it saved you in that time of need because you never know what could have happened. You know.
Hmm.
Man, I tell you, you've really had a wild ride, young lady. I tell you, had a wild ride. So are well. Here's a big question I have for you. Have the kids noticed anything because you have some children? And I think you have a nephew living. Is it a nephew living with you?
No, I just have a son now who's underage, and then I had 10 kids. They're all grown
Okay.
except for
Okay.
the one. My youngest son, the other experience, I think I told you about something hid in the house.
No, go ahead. I can't remember, but go ahead so the listeners can hear it because I can't
Okay.
remember.
Yeah, because I was talking about listening to Dogman encounters with.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, my son saw and I mean he heard all of that, and he say to this day the kitten was sniffing the floor. Like, yes, I mean it literally shook the house. Whatever hit it under that front porch, because my front porch isn't closed in the bottom, and something must have hit the foundation because it hit. I mean, it shook the house, and the cat who was a kitten at the time, and my dog both sniffed the floor in that area. And,
Okay.
I didn't see anything. I don't look out windows at night unless it's a bunch of police out here or something, but yeah, and then something, or it could have been ice falling, so I can't say for sure with that instance. Um,
Mhm.
because where I live, I'm like right inside of the city limit, and
Okay.
like a block. And there's woods all around. It's like deer are coming to the yards over here. Um,
Mhm.
and like I was mentioning to you before, Linda Godfrey has came to our town, and because she wrote a book, I don't know which one, but she wrote a book, and
Oh, I
our town
know.
was,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and she
Linda
went to
did
the
the
library.
Dogman book. Sorry to cut you. Linda
Yep.
did the Dogman book, right? I think she did. Yeah, I had
Hmm.
her book even before I got involved in any of this. It was she had it's a really good book. I love it. The book is old now, I think, but it's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so she
Yeah.
had come here and everything. I found this out later after my son, the one I had the UFO sighting with, he was the one, and he was like, "Have you heard of Dog Man?" I was like, "No, what's that?" And so, we went all into that, and uh, I think I told you about my nephew having that experience at the park. But the crazy
Can you
thing is
go?
that,
Can we go?
oh, go ahead.
Can you tell us about your nephew? The experience at the
Yeah,
park?
he's grown now. I don't have like permission to use his name, but he said that he was at a. We have a park called Spring Valley, and Spring Valley is in the county part of the city, and it's a kind of a like little wild park. It's got a lake, and then uh, connected to the lake is a pond. It's called Deeks Pond, and it's behind
Okay.
our graveyard. And so he went. There's some apartments that's called New Horizon. I don't know the name of it now, but there's a because a lot of people go there and play softball. There's a softball thing, and then you go down the hill, and there's a place where you could sit with a barbecue grill and picnic tables. And he told me that he was sitting down there with a girl late at night. And he said it was so dark you couldn't see anything. And then
Hmm.
he said all of a sudden he heard a terrible noise, a loud noise. He said you couldn't hear anything but that noise. And I asked him, did he feel anything? And he said it pushed his chest in. So he
Mm.
said he started taking off, and then he remembered the girl and went back and grabbed her. She was running too, but he was way ahead, and he grabbed her, and they left the park. There's also been a lot of UFO activity, according to some other people, in that park. Okay, and there's plenty of deer. I've drove through the park. if the park is like when you drive there, it's a big circle, not a perfect circle, but you go around this road all the way around the park. Um, and then in Deeks Pond, you can't even drive. They got that blocked off. You have to get out and walk around there. And
Okay.
like right when you walk in there, it's like spray paint Satan's Woods, and I'm like, turn around,
Oh,
we're leaving.
oh
One
man.
time we went in those woods, and this man said, "Get out of my woods." So I've never been back, and that was when I was much younger. But yeah, that if
We,
anybody want to go down there and look at night, there is a lot of woods because Michigan has a lot of woods up here.
oh, I know. I know. I'm trying. I have a relative out there, and he's starting to slowly get into the Bigfoot thing because he had an encounter, but he denied it for years. But now he wants to kind of he's a little bit on that point where some people have the encounters and they're scared and they try to refute it and say, they try to put it out of their mind. But I've gotten him to open up to it. And he's in Michigan, so I'm supposed to go out there because your area is a hot spot for Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and everything. Michigan is like a hot spot, so I definitely um, I have to get out there. And he's a city boy, but he lives in a
Mhm.
rural area now because he moved there with his wife. Uh, but he's a city guy, so we're going to go camping in Michigan. But I had to make a deal with him because he wants to use a camper. I said, why don't we just, I do when we go squat Bigfooting, we do primitive camping. We go straight into the deep woods. We set a tent, no toilets, no not a lot of electronics or anything, so that we can get kind of ramp up an experience. But he said, well, I gotta have a camper and all that stuff. So I said, okay, look, we'll do what you want because I really want you to check it out because he's in a hot spot and it frustrates me because he's in Michigan. It's the hot spot. You all have everything. You have Bigfoot, you have Dogman, you have UFOs. And I'm like, uh um let's do this. Okay, I mean, I'm talking to. We're talking now. We're trying to make an agreement because I think he's a little hesitant, but I I think he wants to do it, but that city side of him kind of is keeping him from the woods. He doesn't like the woods, but I'm like, please, please, let's. I'm telling you, if you give me the opportunity, believe you will see some crazy stuff, and you will be thinking a lot differently. But anyway, let me ask you this. Your son, when you said he felt the push on his chest, did he feel a physical dog man push or some kind of entity push on his chest, or did he see something? Was it like hands, claw? Was it more like maybe a spirit? What do you think?
It was my nephew, and he said it was from the sound.
Oh, so
So it wasn't.
like a sound vibration, like boom, boom.
Yes, and it pushed him. He said, "Julie, it pushed me in my chest." Like he stood up and demonstrated because I was in there questioning him, because I was like, I want to know. And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I've seen UFOs out there and everything." So you might want to go if you ever do come to Kalamazoo. Uh, Go to this park. It's called Spring Valley. Um, you can get there at night. You can go through the apartments because they have it closed down at night. They put bars across it and stuff, and but you could probably park somewhere and walk up in there. There's clearly deer up in there. I've drove through there and seen a baby deers and their mama. So,
Okay.
and then another thing was, when I was researching the dogmen, I said, well, they say they go around Indian burial mounds, and um, so I did research on because the Kalamazoo is a native name, and so there was natives here, and they had unique geometric gardens, and
Okay.
there's a burial mound in the middle of our city, and I've always seen that hill there, and I've never put it two and two together.
Okay.
So
Do, man, that's man, you all have a lot of situations. So is he the only child that has been around you that you've raised, is he the only one out of the 10 kids that's had an experience, or are things starting up for the kids that have
That's
grown?
my nephew. So I didn't raise him. And I
Oh,
talked to my son, and he was like, "Don't say nothing about me. I don't want to be on there because you know he's nervous." So
I know how it is. I know how it is.
yeah,
I have a
but there's a lot of UFO activity around here. Like the guy I was telling you with the tarot cards, he chased a UFO one night in his car. So yeah, if you were going
did
to come and visit, I would check out Kalamazoo County. Actually, about 2 years ago, there was a big old thing up here on it's called 131, the highway, and I'm right by one. I'm near it. Okay. Well, anyways, people were saying they saw a Bigfoot, and a lot of people you could find it in the news, and they stopped their cars and was looking and all types of stuff, and said it was a Bigfoot up here, and that was probably about a few miles from where I'm at. So I don't know how true it was, but
Oh man, that sounds great. Like I don't do I don't do the ghost thing. I had two encounters with ghost things and they kind of shook me up. So I really don't fool with them. Um, as a matter of fact, I have another guy. He's on our podcast team. I let him strictly deal with the ghosts. I don't do ghosts. Or
yeah, I
at least
don't do
I'll,
it either.
yeah. Well, I don't even. I mean, I'll if somebody wants to me to interview them on ghosts, I'll do it hesitantly. I'll do it, but right now I'm trying to stay away from that. But if
Yeah.
somebody wants to do it, I'll let them talk to one of the other guys. But as far as the Bigfoot Dogman, that's fine because I've been dealing with them for years
Yeah,
now.
because that's what they saw was a big man. I mean, a big man, a Bigfoot. They saw a
Right,
Bigfoot up here, and then the dog man. Now I've tried to do research on the dog man here, and they're like really old cases. I'm like,
right.
mm, I don't know if I believe that. I think people have seen it and not have reported it. Because
Oh
Linda
yeah,
Goss
yeah, yeah.
wrote a book. Why would she write a
Yeah,
book on stuff that's so old?
right. Well, they say most of the time they are not reported. They have more reports that are not reported than are.
Ah,
You know, they have a lot. A lot of people have sightings, but they don't. The majority don't report them. Fear of people making fun of them or whatever. So most of the time, there may be we don't even know. It could be tons. It's probably tons of sightings that we don't we've never even heard about, and pictures too. Like I that's kind of like my theory. Um, I probably believe probably the hottest Bigfoot pictures and the hottest Bigfoot scenarios or situations or encounters we probably never will hear about or see. I bet you.
now there's
But
this
that's
guy. His name is Brad Kidd with two D's, and
mhm.
I had met him in a Facebook group and stuff. And he's in Australia, and he has some pretty compelling videos on his channel. It's Brad Kidd, and the last I heard from him or seen a video from him was before that big forest fire in Australia. I don't know what happened after that or anything, but
Uh-oh.
he was going out there daily and picking up witches. I mean, the woman had a green face. It was crazy. I was like, he posted a picture, had 7 dogmen in it. I was like,
Mhm.
I mean, we were just pointing them out in the group, like, what, look, look, look. So, um, if you get in touch with him some kind of way, I don't know, but
Okay. Okay. We'll track them down. We'll try to. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I have a buddy in Australia, but he's more like a wild party. He does he I mean he believes in the Yahweh, but he's not into the researching. But
mhm.
it's really I'd love to go there because it just seems like they have they have so much land that and it's so they have everything there. You know what I mean? It's just like um they have places that we never even knew existed. It's so deep, like the outback. It's
Mhm.
crazy out there. and uh, they have, unfortunately, they have thousands of missing people a year. They go out in the outback and they never return. So I don't know if that's because they get lost and end up dying, which is probably most of the reason, or something takes them. Or you probably have nuts back there too. Crazy dudes
Mhm.
that'll kill you in a heartbeat. But it's really, really interesting and creepy at the same time. Do you?
I Go ahead.
No, go. You.
Well, I had just saw in a Facebook group that I'm in that about these things called fatheads, and they had
Hmm.
post. Yeah, they were saying those dog men with the real big heads, and they also had well, originally the post was about this creature. It looked like a big frog, kind of. And they said that the people that were commenting said the reason that they leave the dogmen in there is because they need to kill these other creatures.
Hmm.
Because I
So
had,
for once,
hmm
so, so for once, it's kind of like the dogmen are actually the heroes, because usually they get a bad rap.
yeah, because on Vic Condiff there was a story about the rancher and the grandfather said don't mess with the dogmen that were living by the ranch, and their cattle start come up missing, and they were gonna try to go and hunt them, and he said he was riding in a 4x4, and a dog, the alpha, came out the woods and threw a body towards them, and it was a dead rake that they had killed. And then he ran back and grabbed it, because they were several yards away, but they saw it clearly, and they saw that it was dead. And then the dog man came back and grabbed it and took it back. But he was basically, I guess they were saying he was trying to show them that, we take care of these things, so you don't have to, you know.
No, isn't that would have been great if the guy had got a hold of that rake. Then we would have had like really good evidence. But it's always something that gets in the way of us getting that solid proof, solid evidence.
If I see that again, I will invite you to that group so you can, unless you're maybe already in there. Are you in any other Dogman groups in Facebook?
Yeah, yeah. And then also, we can at my group, Bigfoot United and Worldwide, if you're looking for me or whatever, you can catch me on there because I've been trying to be a little bit try to get in there and put some more stuff up.
Yeah,
But
I saw
you
a
can catch
couple
me
of
up.
your posts. I did.
Yeah, yeah. So because we're really trying to put lay out more information and things like that, and because it's been a dry season a little bit. We for I think for everybody in the paranormal community, it's been kind of dry. Maybe not. Maybe somebody's having a lot of action and we just don't know. But I know the ghost people, they get it all the time. Ghosts pop out. They're like, hey, ghosts don't care. They'll show themselves or do crazy stuff. But with the cryptic thing with the Bigfoot dog man and well, the UFO thing is ramping up, I think. With the TikTok video, you've
Mhm.
probably seen that. Well, let me stop assuming. Have you
I'm
seen
not
it?
on TikTok, but yeah, Facebook. I'm on Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter.
Right. Well, go to YouTube and type in TikTok video, and even if you can
Uh-huh.
put it in wrong like TikTok, but you can put in TikTok, and you'll see it. It's good if you can get the one where they have the long footage because some are short footage of it, but it's really cool. They have the UFO and it's going through the air
hmm
and it's going underwater, and I think they're saying like that's probably like one of the best UFO caught on camera type thing. So check it out. It's great. And then
hmm
but you're like some kind of signal. I need to just put you out in the woods and sit you in a lawn chair. We could probably get a lot of Bigfoot and Dogman coming around like
You
crazy.
probably could. You probably could, but
Yeah,
you better have some weapons around, cause hey. But you know
we
what?
just
I wanted to mention this is that in the Bible and going back to not even religion, just the Bible, it describes the UFOs as the chariots of God, and you can do research on that. And
yeah,
that's
isn't that
who,
something?
yeah.
The
And I
Book of
have some,
Enoch. The Book of Enoch explains
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah.
And so the Israelites believe that the chariots are going to come back, and that's going to just like in the independence. What
Mhm.
was that? the movie
Inde-
Independence.
Independence Day with Will Smith.
Yeah, Independence Day. Similar to that, and they're not no kooks saying, "Oh, we're gonna just go in UFOs." I mean, I've researched it, and I have a picture. My profile picture is of an Aztec looking at a UFO.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you know what? Oh my goodness. I just saw it yesterday. I saw that picture. That picture was so great. I was like, but it was so funny because I didn't know that was yours because I was so busy. I was editing an episode
uh-huh.
of Into the Night and I saw it. I didn't know that was yours, but I was like, oh my goodness, this picture is so fantastic. And the artwork was great. Um I you gotta let me use that, please. That
Oh,
thing is so good.
sure, sure.
Thank you. That picture's so
Yeah,
great.
I got more. I actually got that from somebody else, And the one thing about it, like before I even met like the Israelite um,
Mhm.
elders and stuff, I was already researching everything. But people were like, "She's crazy," and then when I met the Israelites, everybody's awake. Everybody's
Right.
awake, and I'm like, "Yes."
Are they the hardcore Israelites that wear the traditional, like the biblical outfits?
Okay,
Or
there's different groups and
okay,
different sects of them, and they go out and preach on the corners, reading the Bible and trying to wait. And they're probably kind of harsh to some people, you know, um, and telling them you don't need to be doing this and that, and they read it out the Bible. But there is some like groups that sit out there and just scream at people. I'm not going to mention any, but I don't associate with those. I associate with House of Israel and Watchmen for Israel. And actually, Watchmen for Israel is the ones who I saw talking to the religious group I used to be with. And the topic was, let's see your picture of Christ. And they brought out a Caucasian, and I don't have anything against Caucasians. And the brother said, "Well, let me read in Revelation because it says the revealing of Christ." And he says it has a description of him. And it says that his hair is white like wool, as white as snow. And his feet were like fine brass, as if burned in a furnace. So that's telling us that he is not the signature Christ that we see these pictures of, which is really Caesar Borgia, the second Pope's son. And
oh,
Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci painted those pictures of
right.
Caesar Borgia and perpetrated that as the real Christ. But Christ, if you look on the map, Israel is in the northern Africa,
Right, right,
and
right.
the African, I mean the Israelites. There's this book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, and in it, it says over 1 million black Jews fled into Africa when Alexander, the Greek, overtook Jerusalem, Israel. And I mean, why would some black people flee into Greece? They're going to be noticeable. So they went into an area where people are the same tone as they are. And if you look on a map, ancient map of Africa, it shows the city of Judah and all of these things. So there's archaeological proof that the Jews went through Africa.
Okay.
So there's a lot of proof of that. But anyways, yeah. So
You're just like a book of knowledge. I'm just, oh my gosh, I just, you're too much. I can't handle you, but I got to keep listening to you because you just know it's like you have all this. But the thing is that history is so fascinating, and like we've had interactions in history, and it's in the Bible that we've had interactions with um uh, you know, well, they say UFOs, with the spinning wheel and all that. In the Book of Enoch,
mhm.
that was UFOs, but I've heard other things where those are actually the angels themselves. I've heard something about that, and I'm
Yeah.
really, oh my goodness, I really want to find this because some people are trying to say that uh, cryptics and Bigfoot were in the Bible. Um, but I see certain passages, but they just I don't know about that. But
Well, do you know? Oh, sorry.
I'd
I'm
love for
so sorry.
somebody. No, you're fine. No, it's actually me because, like I said, I'm so excited to talk, and I usually don't talk this much, but you have so much good stuff going on
Well,
with you. But
there's a book called the Apocrypha. It's part of the Bible that the Roman Catholic took out during the Council of Nicaea. And they're
right,
like, well, and it's already been confirmed by scholars as being true. It's a part of the Bible. It's 14 books. And in the Apocrypha, and I cannot for the life of me find this scripture, but I was reading in it one day, and it said that in the last days, there will be creatures coming out of the forest that were created in the last days. So I'm
what?
like, so I've been looking for the scripture and I cannot find it. So I'm gonna have to read through the Apocrypha again and find that scripture. Maybe I'm not
Okay,
wording it right when I'm searching it or something, but it was something to that effect that creatures created during the last days will be coming out the forest. So I try to tell the brothers, because one thing about the Israelites, some of them, I can't say all, they don't believe in the Nephilim. They think the Nephilim are humans, and I don't believe that because I've done a lot of research and I've seen the bones and I've seen the mud fossils, um, and all of this proof that giants did exist, even giant animals. So I'm trying to convince the ones that don't. I'm not saying all, and it actually has only been a few that I've seen that said that. But
okay,
uh, so I always post information about giants and stuff and Bigfoot and Dogman on my Facebook to try to wake people up. And I'm like, they're going to be coming out the forest because they're already coming to urban areas anyway.
Well, yeah, in 72, there's a report. If any of the listeners want to know, you can go online, Google 1972 Baltimore City Bigfoot sighting. And actually, I think that I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that that's probably the closest that a Bigfoot's gotten into a metropolitan area, unless maybe somebody knows something else. But this in this area is heavily populated. Um,
Yes.
in 1972, I guess they were building some kind of road and whatever it was, I guess it found a pathway from the woods and it came up and I don't know what it was doing there. Maybe it was just curious or something, but Google that when you get the chance, and anybody else, the listeners can Google 1972 Bigfoot sighting. And the Bigfoot had actually gotten up into the city. I don't know if how far they were probably coming to like animals do now, dig in the trash and all, get food or
Well, it's
whatever.
because they're taking away their
Their
habitat, you
land,
know.
yeah, their habitat, yeah.
Um, Now, I was just listening to Dogman Encounters, and this guy named Marvin Allen was on there, and he was talking about how this lady said all the lights had went out, so they were just taking. It was hot, so they were taking a walk around the block, and there was a dog man in front of them walking, and so they just like kept walking behind him, and he went across the street and they were like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" And he was in between two cars, just laying there. So, you know. Um, I would check that out. It was in a recent one.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and then last thing is I saw a video of this guy and he was on live. I don't know if you've seen the video. And he's like, "There's this creatures outside, and I ain't going outside," and all this stuff. And then he opens. Everybody's like, "Open the door and look! Open the door and look!" And he opens, and a dog man runs past. I
Oh
mean, super fast.
yeah. Yeah, that was the guy the gentleman he was in Florida. He lived in it's a real beautiful community and he had opened the door I guess by accident or whatever. Well, no. He actually something had ran by before cuz he'd actually seen it twice. I think he had seen
Yes.
it twice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's an old one, but it's still very good. Still very very good. Yeah, so that's a great
Hmm.
shot. Man, but I'm glad he posted that because some people wouldn't and then we'd miss out but it was good. I mean it's a shame it couldn't stop and take a few pictures but it ran through that yard. It was
It
something
went
right there.
fast. And that actually, people always describe how fast they run or how fast they jump and high they jump. And that actually gave me an idea of how fast they actually are. And I mean, it went,
Mm.
and you could see it was like, had dog legs and everything. And that mug went by fast. So it
Oh
was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, the Dogman and the Bigfoot. I remember when I had my when I heard my first one actually do a run or a jump. I didn't see him. I heard him because we were actually in a what we thought perhaps was a birthing area for them to have babies, and it was me and two other guys, my old Bigfoot partners, but uh, we were in the Eastern Shore. We were in some farmland in Eastern Shore, and we were investigating the area. And we were going down a pathway, and on the left side we saw what looked like a giant funnel, like a farm thing. I forget where they keep the grain. I forget what you
Oh,
call them
yeah.
though.
Uh,
Gosh, I always forget the name. But it was branches and trees intertwined that mimicked the funnel, and we think that's was their birthing area or something. So we were examining that, and they had a whole bunch of tree breaks and structures around that funnel. But on the right side, that's where we heard a giant bang, and you just saw the trees shake like crazy. And
mm,
we didn't see anything, but it was a bang, and it wasn't a gun or anything. Nobody shooting or hunting because nobody was there but us. And but we knew whatever it was there, and the way that they took off was so powerful that it just it's 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 just crazy. It's like, oh my gosh, this is just, it was like a mixture of this is too cool, but this is scary at the same time, because anything that takes off like that, it just you could just feel and you could hear the strength in the legs. It's just
mm,
like I wouldn't want to go up against anything that powerful. But um Michigan, yeah, uh you definitely got some wild stuff out there, and I just, oh my gosh, it's just crazy out there. It's crazy.
well, if you end up coming to Michigan, you might want to check out Kalamazoo, like I said. I don't know if I'd go in the woods. I'd be kind of scared, to be honest with you. Like I said, I know people don't want to shoot and kill these creatures, but hey, I hope you got some firearms. Because, just a minute. Um, there's one guy said, don't go in the woods. If somebody ring your doorbell and you don't see nobody there, don't open the door. He was saying all type of stuff. He said when you find people and they done left and they ain't no sign, they left everything in the house, those dog man got them. He was
Mm,
just being straight to the point.
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, if I come out, if I come out there, usually, it wouldn't be, anything crazy, because we're not there to aggravate any of the creatures. We're not there to aggravate them. We're just there to observe and learn what we can. Um,
Okay.
some people, that's how
Hey,
some people
stop.
end up. Yes, I'm listening.
I was telling the cat. They're trying to
Oh, okay.
fight.
Okay. So yeah, so yeah, like I tell people, don't go in these places acting like you're big and tough and aggravating a situation, because you may, have something happen to you. And even if it's not physical, believe they can put a good fear in you that will really
Mhm,
mess your head up. So, I advise people, if you do it, please just be observant, be calm, be respectful. Just keep quiet and relax, and
mhm.
take it all in. Um, but yeah, this definitely you definitely have some things going on. Well, what we're gonna do, um, we're gonna end the episode, and we it looks like we made it through. That's great. You didn't get cut off, and
Right.
and if definitely keep in touch. Let me know if anything crazy happens, or unusual.
Okay.
Just give me a buzz or text. And at our Facebook group, Bigfoot Unite World, I forget the name, Bigfoot United and Worldwide. If you have anything, you can post it there because you do have some good stuff. Uh,
Okay.
and we'll be we'll be keeping in touch because like I said, you got a lot going on, you know, and I'm sure we're definitely gonna have another episode with you on something. I'm thinking if maybe I wonder if you're I wonder if you're so you said your children haven't your kids except for your nephew and your son, none of the other kids have experienced anything or that they've told you.
Well, one of my daughters is psychic like me, kind of. Because she tells me, she goes, Mom, I had this experience and that. I'd have to talk to her to. I mean, there's something that we have in common, but I really don't want to say it on the air.
Right.
Um, but it is kind of significant from what I've researched. And, she tells me, Mom, I was just thinking about you that called me. Or, I mean, that's common, but, you know,
Okay.
it's something with the family. One thing I can say about my family, and I'm not trying to brag in any way, is that we everybody and my dad and mom's all the kids are very intelligent. Um, I don't know what it is. Like my sister graduated when she was 16. She could write music out like a music sheet. Um,
Okay.
my my brother was the top five when he took the high school test. The what is it? Um, SATs, top
Right.
five in the country. And then we've never amounted to anything. We'd never, you know what I mean? My sister has so many degrees, and master degree and bachelor's degree, and
Mhm.
we don't do anything with it. That might be
Do
part of
you
the curse of Deuteronomy, but
do you feel that's a generational curse?
generational curse.
Yes. Like as in down the line, each offspring or down the line will kind of they won't go to their full potential. They'll get like halfway there. Is that something that?
Well, no, because all of our kids are very
Mhm.
smart, got good jobs. Um, they I mean, just very intelligent. Like me, for instance, I never graduated from high school. I dropped out in 10th grade because
Okay.
I had gotten pregnant. And then years later, my oldest daughter was like, Mom, you need to go to school. You could take a compass test and get
Mhm.
in. And I was like, Really? So I took a compass test, and the dean said it was the highest score he'd seen in reading and writing. And
Oh, that,
yeah, so that was just kind of weird. I never really finished because I come up with great ideas. I just never finish. There's so much stuff you got to worry about, bills and all that stuff. So you don't have time to explore your potential. And it's like my cousins. It's just my dad's kids. My cousins and stuff. They're all surgeons and all this other stuff, and we're just like blah.
hmm, hmm.
But I'm getting
That's
ready to start a business, hopefully, a urban farm. I got
oh,
plans for that. Yeah, I always try to come up with businesses because my father had started a business when he was alive and was successful. So,
that's great.
but yeah, so I want to start an urban farm, and I've already got the okay, and I'm good at talking to people in authority, and so I've got the okay and stuff, and hopefully it'll go through, and you know, I got big plans.
That's great. Hey, well, I wish you the best, and I know you can do it because you definitely you have that magic touch.
Yeah.
So hey, that's
My
great.
parents,
Keep,
my parents were
I'm listening.
invited to go work at NASA in the '60s,
What?
and my mother turned it down. She said no, she is not going, and my father ended up not going too. And my
Oh,
father was in the military, and he helped create the dew line,
oh my
is what
goodness.
I've heard. Yeah, and so I'm like the dew line. So I started trying to do research and everything, and I cannot pull up his name about anything. But he
Hmm.
helped create the Do line, which was a line of communications, and he was very good with electronics. But he died young, in his 50s. So,
Oh my
but
goodness, that's incredible.
yeah.
Oh well, oh my goodness, mind blowing. I tell you, mind blowing. Okay, mind blowing. Okay, well, uh, let's go ahead. We're gonna shut down this episode
All right. It
and
was a pleasure
yeah,
being
because
on it.
I think it's a pleasure. Thank you, and thank you for uh you know what I mean. It was such short notice, but like I really because I just had you had a lot of good stuff, and it was on my mind. I was like I got to get a hold of you because I didn't know if you were going to be busy this weekend, so I just wanted to make sure I got you. I got a hold of
Mm.
you before it was too late.
Yeah,
But
that was
thank you, I
cool.
appreciate it. Thank you,
Hmm.
and I'll go ahead and we'll talk later, and you know. And
Okay.
like I said, you know what to do if anything happens. Just give me a buzz or
Yeah.
text. Anything crazy happens. But thank you, I appreciate it, and
Mhm.
I am going to calm myself down because you got me so excited and I don't want to have a heart attack. All right, so you take care and thank you and
Well, we'll meet
thank
up
you.
on Facebook and stuff, and I'll show you some stuff. I inbox you a couple of things, and we can go from there.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. All righty. Bye
Okay, and
bye.
thank you,
Hmm.
everybody. Bye bye. You take care.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you everybody for listening to this episode. I hope you liked it, and just like and subscribe, and and hopefully you enjoyed it. And we'll try to have some more exciting episodes like this. Keep the blood flowing. All right, take care.